Right now, I stand at the edge of quiet unraveling, an unraveling not marked by dramatic collapse or wild upheaval, but by the slow and steady loosening of the threads I once clung to for dear life. It is the unraveling of who I thought I was, the stories I told myself to feel safe, the identities I wore like armor. This place is tender and terrifying all at once. I'm grieving myself, the self I believed in, the self I tried to build, protect, and project into the world is fading away like twilight fading into night. It's a grief that carries the weight of 1,000 silent goodbyes, whispers in empty rooms and between hurried breaths. It's the morning of dreams that will never unfold the way I imagined, hopes that have slipped like sand through my fingers, and a future that no longer feels familiar or promised. There's a holy sorrow in this grief, an ache so deep it feels as if my very soul is being stripped bare, layer by fragile layer. It is a rawness that cannot be softened by distractions or denials. It is a weight of witnessing the slow death of illusions, the illusions of permanence, of control, of the invulnerability we all cling to in youth and desperation. I find myself standing before mirrors fractured with cracks so fine they almost seem invisible. But with each glance, the image shatters a little more. Once whole reflections splintered into shards of might have beens and could have beens. Each shard catches the light differently, sometimes reflecting love, sometimes loss, always the truth of impermanence. And through this brokenness, I begin to see something more profound. Grief is not merely the echo of loss. It is the measure of love's depth. It is the price paid for having opened one's heart, fully and without reservation. The love is to risk everything. The love is to make sacred investments, one that yields no guarantees, only the certainty of eventual sorrow. This is the currency of life. Love given, love lost, grief born. And so I wonder, could it be that the fear many have of loving themselves springs from the terror of this price? To love oneself honestly is to face the grief of all the parts we wished were different, the wounds we carried silently, the dream we let go or never dared to hold. It is a grief, the death of the person we thought we had to be, in order to embrace the imperfect, struggling, beautiful human who remains. I walk this path now, the path of grieving my own demise, not just the final physical death that waits like shadow for us all, but the slow dismantling of false identities, the releasing of control, the surrender of need for certainty. It is a sacred death, a dying before dying. And I have come to know that in this death lies freedom. Freedom is not freedom from pain, but freedom through pain. It is a courage to stand naked before impermanence of all things, to open one's hands and let go of the desperate grasping. It is the step into the unknown without illusion, without fear's heavy chains. Grief, I am learning, is a threshold, a narrow, painful doorway that leads beyond the illusions to a raw and radiant peace. Peace not born of safety, but of truth. A peace that comes from the soul's deepest remembering. Love was real. Love remains, and love transcends loss. No longer do I flee grief's shadow. I sit with it. I breathe it in like sacred air. I listen to its whispers, its stories, its cries, and I let it remind me of what was held dear and what still is. There is a fierce and holy grace in this pain, a stubborn love that refuses to be silenced, a flame that burns through absence. I am dying before I die, shedding the skin that no longer fit, letting go of the ghosts that haunt my steps. I am stepping into freedom, unbound by fear or pretense. This is the path of honest living, wholehearted loving, and true liberation. To grieve fully is to testify. I have loved deeply. I have lost profoundly. and still I am here. That is the strength I seek.